Greetings, everybody. Absolutely first love. Oh, I'm even 2 minutes early. Way! Yeah, now I said I would start a little bit later because it would be nice if Grace can join us, not at 5 o'clock in the morning. So, she's in Australia. So, hello, Victor. Nice to see you. Thank you for the meditation. My head has had like 1,001 ants in it today. So it was kind of nice to get the group feel meditation. Been very hard to meditate today, but hey, we do it anyway. As hard as just got to keep coming back to still point. So welcome to this beautiful first week of Advent. Feeling a little bit chilly. It's called winter. It's called the dark time, not the dark night, but the dark time, the centering of the soul. So let us light some incense, especially now. Yeah, nice to be here. Thank you. Yeah, as I said, I've been avoiding everything for a while. It's that woman thing, No, it's been swimming around in water. Yeah. Life has many, many layers of unfolding, and when one's had an interesting and busy full life, sometimes the layers can be a little lot as well. So, if you didn't know, Weihnachten, the Weinrauch. Ania, hello, my beautiful sweetie. Thank you for joining us. Weinrauch is actually sacred incense, so this is why it's called Weihnachten, which is the time of the sacred incense and purity and purification of so many levels. And it's like, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, even though Yeshua was born in July, in summer. The whole essence of the expectation and the essence of the Advent to the solstice has got a lot of wisdom and a lot of markers. No, we don't know what's happening because it's the time of the feminine, deeply feminine. And if you know a woman, you don't know what's happening. All a woman wants is her own way. So Neda's just light some beautiful incense, so very, very sweet and fragrant to Shiva. I've heard a lot of people are seeing and feeling Shiva and Ganesha at the moment. It makes me very glad. So we just sanctify the sacred space and bring in the essence of purity and the essence of angels and the essence of this extraordinary new light that is coming down. I've got all sorts of interesting things popping in my head that I had not planned on talking about, but we'll see where it goes. Oh, my button. Blessed sacred Kuan Yin. Amir, I hope that your back is feeling a little bit better, my sweetheart. I'm so sorry, my sweetheart. I'm sure it's a lot deeper than that, but I used to find that having a warm bath and soaking with rosemary oil in it used to help my back a lot. Especially with the back, you have to learn to self-care. We're doing a lot quieter today. There's no big rah-rahs. Yeah, I had an amazing day yesterday, but it's been a lot more still and internal today, which has been great. So I spent time with the water and just reconnecting, because that's very much what this, I don't call it festive season. You can have that in America. Yeah. Or my mother always had like a heating pad. She suffered badly from backache. Good old heating pad is great. A hot water bottle's a little uncomfortable. They do that And they do that a lot in Germany. I did go do intensive like work on healing my crumbling back a few years ago, and a lot of the treatment I had was hot treatment, and also just strengthening the spine, the muscles of the spine to actually hold the bones. And yeah. And wearing I always said it was my very sexy corsetta, but you never saw it, which is actually because I had a lot of pain at the bottom in my neck. But it's a corset, a stretchy corset with like a triangle, and it made such a difference. The only thing you can't do is sit in it. But if you if you're standing and you're walking and moving around, it's just so amazing, and just like let the ego drop. You don't need the ego. And nobody sees it anyway. But it's huge, absolutely huge. 'Cause I used to teach like small children, young children. Oh, that's not nice. Back surgery is many blessings to you, dearest one. Yeah. So yeah. Well, if you're in Germany, they give you like Tropfen drops. When you get drops, you know it's serious. They move over from the medication into drops. Yeah. I suppose it's a bit like what's that from? Fontanel, whatever it is. Because I know that I had a friend who'd had a lot of back surgery here a while back, and every now and again he'd give me a shot of his drops, and they were like quite fabulous. Nothing matters, but I know I'm not funny because he had to live on them. Um, we always just used to giggle that the better we looked, the worse we were feeling. So something about pain makes you look pretty. So yeah, this is the first. So let's get into this beautiful sacred time. It is definitely the birthing or beginning of a new light. And yeah, it just keeps wanting to jump out my throat again. It's well, it's definitely moving away from the false matrix. And it's kind of like, well, it is. It's having to mastermind ourselves and take control of our. Ew, that's painful, honey. It's very painful, and you're so young. Wow. Mm. Sending you lots of energy for the pain, at least. Lots of comforting energy there. Mm. So for me, there's a lot of like light coming down, not just for me, whole new light, and it's also there's we're walking like two paths at the moment, like this double-edged sword where we have to really keep attention to what we're doing as much as we can, because many people it's literally again fighting for their souls, you know. Um, this matrix that we're in right now is this false matrix is a little complicated and definitely fighting back. And it's very, very difficult to fight this little black box that we have. Mm. Um, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, because what it does, I mean, for a long time, um, yeah, for 2000 years, definitely in Germany, it's been a hugely, well, and before that, to everywhere. It's been very much a consumer generation, consumer world, and this little black box just lets you to consume, 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 without giving out any creativity. So it's really important to balance that energy. Try to work on the 80-20 principle. Um, I look after these little kids. They've exhausted me. So this is what I just feel like kind of like really tired. They're like 6 and 10 now. He had a birthday. Um, but and they're not. They've got restrictions. But I was just saying to them that I am sure. I said, "What, you're going to listen to my words, and in 5 years' time, they're going to put a restriction on phones that only like they do on cigarettes and alcohol, only allowed from 15 years and up, or from 13 and up, because it's frazzling the brain cell and hypnotizing us and turning us more and more into a consumer nation where we just consume stuff. Yeah, there's no giving back. So what I was saying is that do try to do something nice and grounding, like cooking, or baking, or painting, or drawing, or gardening, something that really works with nature. I'm very much in the space at the moment where I'm just working. There's a lot of light coming down and just meditating on that as much as I can and opening myself to all that light that is coming down. We don't know where it's going to or how it's going to be used. That's part of this whole Christmas Advent time, which is like hoping, being expectant, receiving, but there's no time. Yeah, it's like really working on faith and knowing that it's happening and feeling like the stirrings every now and again, some days more than others, remember every moment is also a choice point. Every moment, yeah. One kind of feels bad when one makes a choice to go to sleep. But yeah, it's fine. I'm just fine. I don't know why I'm even talking like this, but I'm just finding that it is, for many, kind of it's a very razor edge. Yeah, and it's like just to keep walking on that razor and taking like each moment by each moment and just like going through, and definitely not straying off the path too much. Yeah, and the only way that we know that we're off the path is when we're off the path. Okay, so just be aware of those nudgings to come back. And the universe is just like so loud and loud. And I mean, I had my smoke alarm go off, warning me. Pictures falling off the wall, things just dropping. So yeah, take note of those. You know, the veil is very thin. Our ancestors are very much with us. Our departed. We're in a huge space of grace and a space of purging for the next 4 weeks. I did go through that yesterday, but let's just pop into that again a little bit today, because I like the Advent, and I don't know if other European countries do Advent, the 4 weeks, but Germany really worked very, very strongly with it, which is a very beautiful portal frame. And don't look at it just like put anything you know about religion or whatever, just like put it in your own bubble somewhere else and just try to have an open mind to what I'm speaking about here, because it's mainly like working with for me, this new trinity that I'm working with is the Mary Shakti Sophia power trinity. And I've said quite a while that like this whole Christ consciousness energy is actually, the whole male thing is about rescuing, well, bonding with the Sophia Shakti, with the feminine, on whichever way. It's not always bonding as we think. It's just acknowledging it within yourself or respecting it within others. But we are very, very pre-programmed for centuries. So it is a little, as much as we cut and we move forward, a lot of those things need to still be acknowledged at the root, just quickly, yeah. So there was something else that I used to always be so confused about in myself. I can't remember, because the energies of the earth weren't choosing that. But the energies, especially if we're living in the northern hemisphere, are very inward and very cool and like really like hibernatory and going into our cocoon and going, doing home stuff, which I'm not sure if you do that in the States or if you're really out there, doing happy, happy holidays and hoing. But in Germany, we really go deep. We remember every week. So there we have the 4 weeks. And this first week is on hope. So the 4 candles of the Advent calendar, which is supposed to be a circle of, I didn't know that it was supposed to be a circle. I've often just used 4 candles. But everybody will be lighting their candles and counting their little things. We did go through that last night very quickly. I had to be a little quick last night. But it is very much about being within. It's not a big time for partying. We do have our Weihnachtsmarkets where people drink beautiful Glühwein. It's a time for friends and family. It's about the only time the Germans rest in the year, so they will meet. Like it's almost like we'll meet you at the Weihnachtsmarket, or let's go and have Glühwein. So that's always the longest queue. You always know where the Glühwein is because it's got a long queue. The Germans don't drink very heavily at this time. They wait for January, which I'll tell you what they do then. But it's pretty light stuff. So everybody's drinking this beautiful mulled wine. Though 2 glasses of it with a good shot of whatever it is like, oh. And these days, because I don't drink, I will have some Glühwein when I go to the market. So by the time and the cold kind of hits you and I get really extremely lightheaded. But it has a different kind of a punch to it because of all the herbs and spices in it. I'm sure it was invented by nuns. They make some interesting alcohol. In Germany, anyway, you have lots of stuff that was very alcoholic, made by nuns and by monks. A lot of healing herbs. So the 4 weeks, the 4 things that we're bringing into our consciousness to the solstice. And solstice is huge. It's going to be very big this year. Who knows what's going to happen? But a lot of new light is pouring onto the planet. How we're going to use it in the next year is going to be interesting as well, and how we're going to receive it right now. And if we're not going to just decide on solstice to receive, it's going to be a little complicated. And then there's usually the 5, because the earth stands still, literally. And it breathes in that extreme still point of the longest day. And then it starts slowly to turn again. So there would always be those 4 days or 5 days of revelry and partying, which is great because we can really go in still, and then we can have our Christmas, which is very, very sacred and sanctified thing in Germany. So we're working with, this week is hope, the next week is peace, and then joy, and then love. So these are the 4 things that we can work with during the week. And it is really nice to just, you don't have to do the thing, but just bring in that honoring of lighting a candle every evening. Just to bring the light in, because that's what we're working with. And we're working with a whole different new light that is coming, the blue lights. 3-hour Atlas. We've got another guy on the side. Earth is literally flanked by these 2 amazing comety type things and huge energies. And of course, we're having all these blue flashes. And Earth is really sparkling a bit. I mean, the sun is sparkling like a firework at the moment. So just a nice way that you can just think of for week 1. And it's a very, very feminine process. There was, if anybody did, I don't know, I think Trista was talking a while ago about Ted Andrews. He was definitely one of my teachers. I didn't know that he'd passed. I didn't know if unfortunately didn't meet him. I didn't know people that worked with him, but I really just totally embraced his work and his book. And he had a very beautiful book, which is like, I never ever saw it. I managed to have a copy from a second-hand shop somewhere, which was called The Divine Feminine Christ. But he worked with it throughout the whole year. And it's the Christ principle. He was way ahead of his time. He was such a wonderful master. But he does a lot with names. Yeah. Yeah, that's right, because we will deal with some of that. We'll talk about the other elephants in the room. As I have said, with the awakening of there's a lot of like dark magicians around, and it's all over the internet. You know, you don't have to have love to do the power. So we need to really be very vigilant. But I still work with hugely, and it is written that where the light is, the darkness cannot stand. So your biggest job, or my biggest job anyway, is to actually just make your light bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Yesterday was fabulous. Today was not as good as it could have been. This was really, as I said, I've had like an army of ants in my brain to really keep bringing myself into meditation and into focus. But that's what it's all about. It's not the meditation. Okay, meditation is great, and it's like, but what the meditation does is it actually brings us into focus to tame that monkey brain. And yeah, obviously lots of things happen in meditation. I definitely don't knock it. But meditation brings us into that still point, into stilling the mind, into focusing, focusing, because that's usually what it's about, because monkey minds are monkey minds. So, as we're moving into solstice, which is the huge cosmic still point of the earth, especially in the northern hemisphere, which for people still forget that there's a the West, Western culture, still forget that there's a southern part of the world, but it does, it's confusing them. But right now I'm blessed enough, and I think that we're all exactly in the place where we're meant to be right now, because this is a huge, huge outpouring of light just pouring into the planet. But Advent is the inner journey towards that still point. Always my strongest advice, we're working hugely with activating the 33 vertebra. We're working with activating the 33 vertebra of the cosmic serpent, which many have been activated. There are many serpents, they're all over. There's a European one, the Nile is one, that's been activated. You see how it's a lot of hard work was done over 11/11 just after that to let's not go there. Advent is the inner journey towards the still point. So as the outer darkness increases, so our inner listening and the depth within ourself increases and deepens. Our activities all slow down, and listen to that, do different things. In Germany, they do a lot of baking and cooking. It's like you do with family. It's really, and it's so wonderful to actually just bake and eat your own cookies. There's a lot of time with being together with people, telling stories. And as I said last night, that we are in a birthing process. So if you are lucky enough and blessed enough to have a birthing partner, whether you're a male or a female, doesn't matter. It could be your divine masculine, or it could just be a good friend, or maybe you have to tune into something else, because we are moving into the space right now of hope, which is, whether we like it or not, it's there. We've had like a heck of a year. We've had a heck of a last 2 millennia, and we are hoping for something bigger now. The Christ consciousness, the Christ energy, which has got very little to do with Yeshua, though a lot to do with him. you can't negate it when how many billions of people are actually celebrating and believing in that name, whether erroneously or not. May they see the light, their own inner light. So the Advent is hugely feminine. It's deep within the mother's womb, and within the mother's womb of the planet, of the real mother's womb, of the void, of the gestation. It should be. I'm quite enjoying going into the void by choice right now, and not just being unceremoniously dumped. So I'm starting to see the thing and say, okay, this is where I am right now. I think for me, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit. Um, Having done a lot of work and understanding with thanks, Victor. Have a lovely one. Mhm. Yeah, no, I don't drink it all. It's just at Glühwein time. I will if I go because with friends. It's like it's really not. Yeah, yeah. I'll see you later. Um, what was So we're holding the seeds within ourselves right now of the new light, the new birth, as we sit through these 4 weeks, first with hope and peace and joy and love. We sit with in this pregnant state of awaiting, not of control. There's no control. You can't, I mean, they do it today, but you can't make the baby come. You can't we can't properly create a baby, and you can't make the baby come when you really want it to. They do that, but let's just pretend that things are like they should be. The divine chooses a very hidden, humble, embodied path. It's no great big shakes. It's really just sweet and beautiful and singing. And I do a lot of loving the Mother Earth and pouring water on the earth. That's one thing I try to do a lot of. So we are mystically, Advent is the womb of the year. It vibrates very much to the water element and to the earth element. So it's very, very deep feminine energy. I will tomorrow work with my different Trinity, not mm, the the youth, not the maiden, the woman and the crone. I'm working with a different Trinity. I don't want to do this whole crone stuff anymore. I moved from that by choice, and now I have choice, and I don't want to choose that crone thing. Many people, even though I am in my crone years, I'll do something else right now. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just I've done it for many years, even as a young person, done the dark side of the crone, not of Kali. I didn't embrace Kali then, but I did the crone. I did all the elements, all of the three in one. But it's a deep time of contemplation, of being receptive, and of expectating and knowing and purifying, because you're holding something really pure. You want to awaken something really deep and pure within yourself. The earth herself is holding the seed of in the dark soil. Nothing's really growing now. It's just gestating, which actually it's so interesting, but at this time we don't see it, but the earth is doing a lot of work underneath. In summer she's not working. Humanity in a collective pregnancy, sensing something new, trying to be born, but not fully visible. So even if you're Muslim, you feel the energies of nature, yeah, which are very strong. The soul is like a little room in which the infinite quietly grows. But at the same time, we're awakening and just expanding that heart, expanding that light body of ourselves so that we can make room more and more and more for this extraordinary big something that's going to be awakened in us slowly, but just like consistently to work with it. So it's a very nice way to, I think, is just to make a beautiful altar for solstice, um, and light a candle every day. Oh, definitely one a week. Put some evergreen branches on it, pine cones, um, crystals if you want. Um, you can work with citrine. Rose quartz is always good. Even just one crystal is just fine to awaken it. Just make sure that you have cleaned it. Um, the the official is actually 4 candles with the fifth one in the center, and you just light 1 candle per week. So first week you have 1 candle burning, then it's 2 candles, then it's 3 candles, then it's 4 candles, and then on like Christmas Eve you light the center candle. So go deep within and ask yourselves how. Well, I ask how I can be of service, but for most of us, and for me too, is also how can the light be born in me? How can I absorb and radiate more light into the heart of darkness? I carry the light. So we're just really being asked to shine and be on our truth and emanate and vibrate our beautiful loving selves. It's not always that easy. So the first week is hope, and that's like seeing in the dark. And we will be shaken. We might be shaken a little bit. Do like to tell us that we will be shaken a little bit because it's not the easiest road. You've got to like figure out where everything is in the dark. There's no roadmaps right now, and especially right now there are no roadmaps to this ascension. This is very unique. So we have to all feel our way in the dark. A very nice little process that you can be doing is to take short walks at night, every night, just for 5 or 10 minutes in the dark, in the cold. It's really good, which is practicing and trusting the path in the physical, which then filters down into or filters up into the spiritual. Um, Take stock, I did the other day, but this is also really nice, is if you write a letter to yourself, to your future self, about what you're wishing to create through this year. Because remember, we've got seeds, and then this is the hope and the faith that this will come through. And you can like put it away in a box on your altar now, and then read it next year at solstice, at Advent time, and see where it's come by. Um, So Advent is the season of the womb. It's not about a baby, really. It's about that deep, dark womb, that sacred center of the safe darkness of the mother womb. And sometimes with that glowing golden reddish pinkish tint, which is like a rose quartz lamp. That's, I believe, what it looks like inside the womb. Grace, my beautiful. Hello, my love. I love you. I love you. I love you so much. Hello, Millie. How are you doing? Yeah. Yeah, shame you're still quite busy at this time of the year with kids, eh? Hmm. So thanks for popping in. Thanks, Grace. How are you today? I've just been floating in the great cosmic void today. I'm doing my water meditations and my water things. They keep me sane. I was very tired. I'm looking forward to having a full night's sleep tonight, hopefully. But yeah, we are wombing. So before there was a Christmas, there was a dark, fertile waiting. This has always been a very, very sacred time of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. It's the pregnancy of God within the soul. So we're giving birth to the higher Christ light, which is the womb of the heart, awakening that heart, just really hearing the pulsating of that heart, just putting your hands a lot of the time on the heart and feeling that love just pouring. If you've been pregnant, you know that it can be wonderful should you've been been a mother, that one often does put one's hand on one's heart and just flood your being with love. But we don't know what's in it. I mean, yeah, okay, we've got like things to look inside. In my first child, which was in 1980, there was there was I did have one because but I didn't know the sex of the baby because it wasn't routine to do scans at all. I mean, it's great that they can look inside, though they do anyway, but let's not go into that. But one would just like, there's that absolute faith and trust that what's growing. And I think for a lot of people, um, the prayer, because we didn't know if it was a boy or a girl, some would, I suppose, will pray for a boy or a girl, but was just that it was be healthy and fine. It was like the biggest prayer that we had because it's so much of the unknown of what is growing inside us. And when my son was born, he his two of his toes, like a little fish, are fused, not completely, but are slightly fused together. Not Alex, my other son. And I think that's the first thing we kind of look for. And I just remember thinking, and it was like, oh my God, of all the things that could go wrong, that's all that happened. I think of weird things, but I remember just being like just so overwhelmed with. You get overwhelmed with the weirdest feelings when you're pregnant. You're pregnant, and afterwards as well, you have pregnant brain. And this whole time is very fertile and it's very dark. Not dark as in bad dark, just the void, the stillness, the quietness, the in your thoughts, writing, journaling. It's the silent garden where the word will take root. But being awake, yeah. Um, that's in the Shakti, the Hindu cosmology. It's Shakti is the hidden matrix. She's not out there. She's the Prakriti before manifestation. She's all the creation before it's moving. She's the dark yoni of all potential, the space before the Om splits into creation. And be aware of that. Be aware of your breathing. I mean, by now we should just be breathing in light and out light or love. Um, only sometimes breathing out the negative stuff, though there is a huge amount of purging going on again at the moment. Thank goodness. Thank goodness for the purple fire. But listening to that silence, everything works on silence. Words need silence in between, otherwise you won't understand them. Music needs that pause of silence between notes, otherwise it would just be like rough chords all the time vibrating. So it's that breath and just jumping into that pure, pure, pure stillness, because it's very, very holy. And that the more we try to do it, the more we succeed at it, the more we can bring the light forth from there. And in the elemental language, it is the earth holding, it's the water gestating, it's ether expanding quietly, and it's fire still concealed. There's not much fire right now, it's hiding. And the air which is barely stirring. So it's a very, very still time, especially if we have snow. It's the huge cosmic stillness. So very much an ancient, with the ancient places now, they do that anyway. But in Germany and ancient European traditions, the deep winter months were dedicated to the Earth Mother, the Dark Virgin, and the hidden goddess beneath the snow. which is why at this time of the year we bring in a lot of candles, evergreen branches, a lot of silence, a lot of soft light, and a lot of turning inward. Well, most people, if they're going to sleep earlier. And under that crystalline surface is the rhythm of the mother that holds the world in her belly while the sun is reborn. So it's the mother, hugely the deepest, deepest part of the mother. And I'm not looking at the crone at all as the archetype of earth. She becomes the bridge between the cosmic and the human, the infinite and the embodied, the light and the flesh. You're sure all of these people, they didn't just arrive, or some did, Shiva did, out of nowhere. They were born into flesh and blood. They were born from woman, from the womb. So all this waiting is, so if you're not feeling that you're not doing much, it's all absolutely normal. Any my love. Oh, I don't know, it's quite late. It's quite early there. I'm like confused. It's cold and dark most of the time right now. Sometimes a little colder than others. So if you're doing any work with the feminine, the masculine, the feminine, which is what we're working with hugely, the energy is very, very feminine, which is waiting without forcing, receiving without grasping, trusting without seeing, and nurturing what is not yet manifest. If we're lucky enough to have gone the easy way and had children, it's easier to understand. A lot of respect for those, always have had a lot of respect for people that don't have children, because I think it's a lot, I mean, it's different. Yeah, because when you're pregnant, when you have children, you automatically get these these gifts into your being. So that's the sacred feminine principle, which we're doing because we don't know. Hope is the essence of what? Faith is the essence of things hoped for, something like that. Often you'll hear me say, I don't really like to do hope because hope has failure. There's an element of not succeeding in hope. But sometimes hope is just all we have. And the light is coming, but in its own timing. I mean, we wish that we could say at exactly midday, blah, 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 a little bit like 11, 11, 11, 11. But it's not that, We don't know. We know roundabout, but we don't know exactly. So it's just to keep that. It's like the 10 virgins, to keep the light burning, even when you don't know that anything's happening. In the darkest of nights, and then because this is just the time of the year which can pull you down a little bit and make you look at some things again, and just like deep, deep, deep within yourself. And try not to run away from it. Try to just like go into it and ask what you need to learn, what you can learn, what it's offering you. Because those little dark corner things, because you don't want to do them next year. So I really don't want to do this. I want to finish it now. Can we just but do it quickly, Because remember, it's more about the light pouring in and just expanding ourselves to make ourselves bigger and more purified and more fabulous to hold the light. And tuning into it, and lots of us. There's a lot of us standing together as earth guardians, earth keepers, earth healers, people crossing over, people doing the bridge. There's so much astral work going on. It's like everybody's got a second job here, almost, yeah. But yeah, there's still a lot of people that really don't have a clue what's going on right now. And they're just looking. But so you have to be this light standing for that. So we're taking, as a woman, again, taking on so many different roles simultaneously. Yeah. And it's all happening through, and you can't think it through. You can only feel it through. And we have to just be with the flow. And it's like, go left or get up today and go to town. Yeah, but I don't want to go to town. Well, go to town for whatever reason. Yeah, or go down to the river and go that way. Okay, why? I don't know, because that's the mother. And that's the energy that we're working with right now. The sun codes really help us. And really, I mean, sitting, if you can, sit and touch the earth somewhere, whether it's good to be barefoot for a little while on the earth, even if it is cold, or to sit on her, or at least to touch her, or to touch a tree and ask, what is your pathway for today? Just for today, not for tomorrow, just for today. Eating something fresh from the garden or herbs, because those keep changing their codes every day. So it's like, that's how we're getting part of our coding. You know, this, I read something so interesting just now. So something, there was a, in Brussels, actually, it was quite a while ago. They noticed that one half of the field was growing with the same soil, etc., and the other half didn't grow. So she was very confused, and she did tests with this. Because I'm always interested in this, because that's what my son's significant, beautiful partner does. She sits with her eyes in a little magnifying glass. She's a biotechnician. And the soil was the same, except there was some bacteria in the other soil, which was programmable. So she discovered, and it made sense to me, because 80% of the world is made out of quartz. So they figured now that they can actually program your soil. So we're not like working, and I mean, you know, we've been talking and singing to our plants, some of us, for a long time, and they have beautifully responded. So we've been programming the soil, but now it's become, yeah, hope is the light we carry within us. Thank you, Grace. Absolutely. And we hope it gets bigger, and we work at it and we work at it, and tomorrow it doesn't feel like we did anything. But yeah, we can. So now they have actually discovered in a laboratory that you can actually program your soil, and farmers are actually programming their soil with, like, filling it up with this bacteria, mixing it with this bacteria, and so it's like a living computer. I think that's just so exciting. So I did mention that a little while ago, how Mother Nature, the trees, are actually fighting back, and they're creating all sorts of different chemicals to counteract the stuff that they're spraying in the sky, or to get rid of other plants, or to make. That's why so many people have got so many allergies, because she's kind of had enough, you know. So wake up, guys. She doesn't ask for much, you know. She just asks for a little bit of gratitude and respect and care. Yeah, you know, they're rubbish bins for a reason. I know I'm talking to the converted here, but you know, so many people don't know that what a bin is for. Anyway. Yes, when I was doing a lot of this thinking, it kind of came up for me. I was like kind of in the kitchen making tea, and I was like, "Oh, you don't need to go to class, etc., etc. We know how to bring up a baby." Yes, we do. It's instinct, but we don't. We don't anymore. And I mean, that's also part of this whole thing of babies, that like a whole generation in America, well, around the Western world anyway, was hugely damaged because of Dr. Spock. And who said, let your babies cry, and they just want attention, and you know, just love your babies, guys. And I did speak about it before. It's interesting how they had that here in Germany as well. It wasn't Dr. Spock, it was another guy. And that was the general trend, that you needed to let your babies cry because they were just being manipulative of you. And that was like the 50s, 60s babies, the post-war babies. So, and don't give them too much love. So be manipulative. So ruined, really damaged a whole generation. Okay. So that was the thing I was thinking. Yeah, I mean, yes, we do. I was like blessed enough to read like literally 2 Leaning Towers or 3 of baby books. I had a great Earth Mother at the time and just like read whatever was given to me. And it was like still water birth was, level year birth was like virtually unheard of. And I mean, why we give birth lying on our back is still beyond me, you know. But in Sweden, fathers have to go to school. They have to go for 2 months to baby school so that they learn how to bring up babies and children, you know, tell stories, don't shout, change nappies, feed the bottle, yeah, all those things, which I think is just absolutely fabulous. So a little bit of instruction. We do know, but we've lost, and that's where I think many of us fight within ourselves, is that we do know, but we've lost the collective. You know, the old cultures. It takes a village to bring up a child. Yeah? But we've lost a lot of that community, or a lot of our wise women, yeah, in the Western community. Okay, so this whole time is the light is coming, but on its own timing, through its own mystery, through a path the mind cannot design. And things sometimes things don't work out like they should be working out in this greater plan, and we have to think very quickly on our feet and continue, because we're at really a big crux point. Yeah, I would like to be doing other things than that, but it's like where I am right now. So just like continue the work, you know, as a team, as a duo, as a duet, as a solo, but doesn't matter, just continue the work. I like to call it work. I'm German. It's fun. It's a lot of joy. It's really beautiful. It's really rewarding. But I do call it work. I like take it as very sacred work. Well, you know, let's go work. Let's go and have fun. Anyway. Versus the light is on the more masculine, which is like very much the Western world's compulsion, which is to control, to produce, to push, and to demand outcomes. Show me the figures, you know, and control the outcome. Yeah. So somewhere in between is that magnificent balance. So let the light grow in its own hour. Your task is to hold the space and to keep that space however you keep it. You know, some people are fasting, some people are purifying. I think we're all purifying on different levels, and it's different ways. Each one's purification is absolutely for themselves. Yeah. The only thing that I don't think we should be eating, where I say that we shouldn't do, is chemicals. Too many chemicals. Yeah. So, you know, whether you eat a meat or a fish or a vegetarian or a vegan diets worry me because they have a lot of that like chemical meat. You know, it's very highly processed if you read the labels. And when I eat it, I get the most terrible kidney pain, so I don't eat it. Sometimes I do, but yeah, most of the time I don't eat it. And they make them very yummy. And I'm sure America makes the most yummy stuff. They always did make good tasting stuff. But fresh, whatever you're doing, as I say, is just drink the best possible water that you can, and eat the best food that you can. So do don't do the chemicals. Don't do too much junk food, too much sugar, too much fast food. And obviously it's Christmas at the time in Germany. I've got a lot of chocolate going. I'm not going out there to look at, I can't. I will get myself one little log of marzipan because I do really like that. My system is reasonably sensitive at the moment, so that if I eat these wonderful Kristallens, which is just delicious, I generally get heartburn, so I'm not going to do that. I will just eat my marzipan log all by myself, and I cut it up into very, 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 very little thin slivers. So we will do chocolate. So this is why the womb is the perfect symbol. You cannot rush a pregnancy with force. You cannot logically plan a soul into being. You can only make yourself a sanctuary. And this is about the divine self and the ego self as well. And we're very, very, this is all as we're on such a fine line at the moment, yeah. So just bring yourself back as quickly as you can. Many, many years ago, when I was first heard, it's not even, it was my, whatever, what do you call it, what do you want? He said, it's the difference between I am and I am. So you go through the same process, but the ego takes over and it becomes the big I, which is what we don't really want. It's not the collective. It's not for the higher good of all. It's not for, this is what self-realization is about. But it can go either way, just because you're on a path of self-realization, which is finding it's exactly what it is. It's self-realization. No church, they can point you in some directions and offer you certain ways to do it, but no, it's about your own work. Yeah. You can learn the mantras and all of those and do the meditations, but at the end of the day, it's just between you and your God, me and my God. That's what I'm saying. Oh my goddess, or whichever one. We're not arguing about sex right now. But you can only make yourself a sanctuary, make yourself available. Stop and be still. It's another good thing that I highly recommend. Be still and know that I am God. Oh, I love it. I do the emphasis. Oh, golly, 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 golly. Yeah, there's two parts of that. Anyway. So the light that the mother waits for is not only a baby or a deity. The mystic teaches that the light she carries represents your next self or your higher self, your next soul expression, what's coming up, what we're going to be birthing in March. The that wishes to incarnate in work that will define your next year. Consciousness being born into the world. So it's a busy time inward. For a lot, it's like we're working with the collective, we're working with other people, and we're working with ourselves at the same time. And yeah, we're still doing a little bit of, we're doing that fight for our soul. It comes up every now and again, full on flat in our face. To experience this part of Advent is to feel the fluttering of something new inside. And the more that you work with it, the more that it grows and flutters. The tenderness of a beginning, and it needs that sweet, sweet, tender nurturing. The responsibility to protect what is still and soft and unformed. The light you are awaiting is the new form of you, a version of you aligned with the higher timeline, the higher vow, the next octave of your mission, and the deeper resonance of your soul. There's a very nice thing. I do both. As I've said, when negative thoughts pop up and want to overwhelm you, just try and stop them with sound. I use the Hindu neti neti, which means like stop, and that because I think it's whatever that word, Sanskrit. So it does work. And then there's also just tell whatever these, just dissolve. But really know what dissolve means and say just dissolve. Because we want it to just dissolve. We're done with it. We'll go through more of this week and see what else needs dissolving and why sometimes it's difficult to dissolve stuff. The Dark Mother as a gateway. In the Northern Hemisphere, Advent always meets winter solstice, and the solstice night is the longest night, the deepest, darkest womb, the hour before birth. When almost, you almost give up hope. I'm sorry, I'm not being more cheerful about this, but I am very cheerful about it. But somebody's got to say this is what might happen. Because it's still dark night. It can go on for a long time. And you almost can give up hope. Yeah. That's why just before you give birth to a baby, you get the surge of extreme energy. It's quite fabulous, and you kind of know. It's the moment the sun seems dead, but suddenly turns towards life. I mean, can you imagine living where the sun don't shine? Oh, no. I don't know if I could cope with that. Hey, Debs. Mhm. Oh, yeah. Oh, always. Yeah. There's always a good reason with things. And sometimes we don't know the reason, and sometimes we do. And I've often found that a lot of things that we kind of asked or feel that we should do, we're not asked, we feel that we should do. Very often, some of them are very complicated and got to cross. It all crosses uncomfortable, but they all cross a lot of uncomfortable barriers, boundaries. But very often, you don't have to actually do it. You have to just be willing to cross and just start, and then something else comes up. So each person's path is different, but and sometimes you've got to go all the way through with it. Yeah. And I think the most difficult it is that an enlightened soul, and I've said this, like, I was so glad that was my teaching, that like um it's a middle path always. So depression is not good, and excessive joy is also not good. So you want to keep that pathway steady. Because as you go up, you go down. All the as you down, you're going to go up. Yeah, no, I'd rather just meander. I don't want to be still live, still, because then I'm completely still and dead. But just a little gentle meandering along the path. And you want to try to keep your emotions either way in that check. Yeah. And what is that we used to say? Moderation in all things, including moderacy. So every now and again, you're allowed to go shout, and all that. But it's different personality types. Yeah, it's why we have the beautiful 5 elements. Or I find them a lot clearer and quicker to work with. As personality types is what we are. Astrology charts are fabulous, but they can it's not your sun sign, it's your moon's or your rising sign and your moon sign, and yeah. So it's very simple, the 5 elements. I often say I wish that I'd known them before I had my second child, Jeremy, because he had a whole armory. I didn't allow him to have guns. He had a whole armory at home of sticks that looked like guns and spears and all these fabulous things. And then when he was a little bit older, and there was not that much Czech in South Africa, he collected pocket knives. I did get him a pocket knife, a Swiss Army knife. And I was just thinking about that with something else that I was researching, but people used to think I was crazy. He had, because he used to play Indiana Jones, and he had a plastic knife. But he was really like 10 or 11 when I allowed him to have that. He wasn't killing people. But I made him like, he was doing the Indiana Jones, cutting through bushes. But even though it was a plastic knife, I made him carry it properly and to like not leave it lying around. So there was just something that you can maybe just observe. So many people, like, they have kids are way too little. They have guns, but they're just toys. They're not toys. They are representatives of the real things. And if you treat the real things properly, but so yeah, then he started collecting knives, and he had this whole armory under his pillow. And then when I like did feng shui and realized that my son was a 7 red metal and that he is the warrior, and these things are just second nature for him, fire and weaponry. I was, if only I'd known that, then I would have sent him early to karate, to the martial arts. Yeah. So not all girls are ballerinas. So, okay, and across the Western cultures, so you can pick the one that you want to like work with if you want to work with them. This is like, these are the birth and rebirth goddesses of Isis, of Inanna. She's quite hard. She's Mesopotamian or Sumerian. Demeter, Freya, Sophia. Sophia is wonderful. The Shakti, well, they all like harsh, or the Black Madonna. And they all hold the same mystery. The light is born from the womb of the deepest night. So it's not all light and song and dance and tralala. Yes, it is in our soul, in our inside, as in the depths of winter. The eternal summer was born within. But that's your inner sanctuary. You're still doing this dark stuff, but it becomes choice, different choice, or more choice. It doesn't always be choice. And this is where I'm going a lot. Mary becomes the Black Madonna in Advent. She's veiled, she's hidden, she's silent, she's holding the world's grief. She's ready to give birth to hope. I think we're all feeling, well, many of us are feeling the grief of the world. As I say, we're wearing so many hats at the moment, or costumes, or sakis. It's like, it's wonderful to keep up with them. Who am I today? What should? So it's really nice just to ask your energy, ask yourself in the mirror, preferably ask the mother, like, how can I be of service today? Yeah. Or whatever. It's up to you. So at the moment, there's a huge thing going. Well, I'm going to start making it happen. The Black Madonna shrines are activated around Europe in winter. They carry the vibration of the womb that holds the light. So it's just really, if you know this, it's really nice to be able to create a womb type space in your womb. I always used to tell my kids to go to their womb, or I would be in my womb, because you regenerate there and it's quiet and it's sacred. Just have a small corner in your womb. It's like dedicated to this time right now of going inward and allowing whatever to purge quickly. But more than that, well, it's about emptying the space so that the light can come in. and just like having a candle, simple candle, make it as simple as you can. It's not about big things. It's just about going into our very own deep inner cave. And hopefully that we've been down to this cave enough, that there's not too many strange things in the cave. Or you've befriended them. So into the silence each day. I love that of taking. I do it quite often, and having gone blind, it's been interesting that you do work with different ways to find your way. But it's very lovely things to go for a walk at night in the dark, just for 5 minutes. And cross a lot of fears. Things are different. I don't like swimming. It's like it can get very scary to swim at night in the dark. But yeah, take a walk and just like allow yourself to be guided. And if there's no moon, like here, if there's nothing, there's absolutely, you cannot see your hand in front of you. It will also awaken your deeper psychic gifts as well. So these things are all coming out at the moment. Just think mother. As I say, sorry if you don't do mother, but you know enough to know what mother said, that deep seated intuition. So it's trust those. Yeah, they're going to be really, really, really awakened. I mean, this is part of what's happening with the sun and all this energy that's pouring. So I'm just trying to be like a little more practical about it right now. There's so much out there, and we are like the earth is like the sun is a big firework, and we've got these two, and there's like a lot of extra galactic contact going on. So all of these things are happening in the womb. Yeah. Pregnant mothers before they're even pregnant, they will have like interesting dreams or visitations. Every mother's got an interesting story, almost everyone, how they got the name of their child. We're like walking in that veil. Yeah. Now the whole planet is walking in that veil. It's being stripped. And as I said yesterday, just think that very much the three base chakras are being stripped because humanity just wants to consume drugs, sex, food, rock and roll. Yeah. And those are all your three main base chakras. It's the mind, the body, the emotion, and the mind. Um, the, the mind and the consciousness are very different things. Consciousness, very interesting, is very difficult to actually explain because there are no real words for this. You know it by feeling it. And if I say the words, you'll know what I'm saying. But it does first start off with kind of willpower, yeah, which is here. Willpower sits here. And it's like disciplining the body to do things, disciplining the mind to focus, disciplining yourself to like get up every morning or meditate every night or do something at the same time every day. That's why when you have children, you have to have this discipline. I remember waking up with absolute horror when my daughter turned 5, 6, she was going to go to big school now. And I thought, oh my God, it doesn't get any easier. This just gets worse. Because, nursery school, I could still like go and take a trip down to the wild coast and not worry about school. But when the kids go to school, this earth thing has been very complicated for me. But when they go to school, you can't just take them out of school. So it's your enter the silence and enter it like willingly. Oh, it's that whole thing of like if you don't enter it willingly, you're going to be pushed into it. So if you don't take a break, you're going to be pushed into taking a break, like getting ill or something. So we don't. So let's enter it with majesty and with deepest reverence and contemplation and joy. Yeah, it's that deep. It's not like we're not all like running and dancing off into the cave. Well, you can if you want, but it's with sweetness and with reverence. Whatever the universe is showing. That's my way. Sorry, you don't. You can do it your way, but mine is with like I like to be still and reverent. and let your nervous system drop into stillness. So it's dropping into the heart. The heart is, we're talking about the three base chakras, yeah. And they actually hold that I am not my body. It's your base chakra. I am not my emotions. It's your sacral chakra. It's lust and wanting things. I am not my mind. That's your solar plexus. But we're moving on to, I mean, obviously they're still going to be there, but we're moving on to another higher level. But the beings that are in control now, the angelic beings, the sacred high beings, the masters, the galactics, the wind, the trees, they are dissolving a lot of this, the base chakras. Because we should be doing grounding in other ways, we should be out there dancing on the grass, we should be taking walks, we should be baking, just basically we should be planting. I don't like to say those words should, but they're appropriate right now. If you have a garden, you really should be doing these things. So place your hand on your heart and feel that there is a seed of light growing inside. Feel it pulse. You may not know what it is yet, and that's okay. You might not feel it pulsing, but it's just to tune into it and work with it more and more and more until we're actually able to connect with ease, the heart-brain coherence. I was very lucky that was my teaching. So the heart, from a pink light here to a golden light here, and then they form this beautiful ball, and you protect the earth with that. And whisper the mother's prayer. You can make one up for yourself. What grow within me, what the world needs, I will hold it with tenderness. So getting a lot of seeds, it's time to ask for your seeds on any way that you want. But they're very delicate. They need to be nurtured, and you don't have to tell anybody about them. You can share them in different ways, but they need to be tended to and nurtured right now. There's a lot of tenderness, but we need that tenderness also for the world. Yeah? Don't cry too hard for it. Feel it, because remember, we want to keep our emotions kind of on the keel, on an even keel. But rather ask what seed can grow within me. And you might not get the answers, and that's absolutely okay. And protect your seed. And during Advent, these are these 4 weeks leading up to solstice or to Christmas, or both. It's really, don't do gossip. That's going to make a bad baby. The Chinese say mothers who have good thoughts have pretty babies. So don't do gossip. Don't do drama. Rather walk away. You don't always have to stand on your truth, Sometimes you can just say nothing. Don't do too much frantic energy. I know it's complicated because we're all rushing around buying those Christmas presents. No, we're not. Germany, they're not. Many cultures aren't. South Africa, they're completely manic. Completely manic. And with apologies and with deep reverence, first for me, I broke away a lot from my sister family, it was like buying a lot of presents for a lot of people who you don't even really like, or who don't like you. When I didn't go for Christmas, apparently the comment was, well, what are we going to talk about for the rest of the year? So, but yeah, I would just say to people, what are you buying all this crap for? And it's about buy in South Africa. And it's like horrible. I said, you're buying from a lot of Muslims, Hindus, and Jews, and none of them celebrate Christmas. They're only doing it for the money. That's all you're making rich. So, as I said, we do St. Nicholas, which is when we give a slightly bigger present, but no big presents. It's starting to get a little crazy. In Germany, in a way, they don't like it, even though they developed consumerism, but anyway, complicated place. Dichotomy. And yeah, don't do any great like unnecessary stimulation. Remember, you've got New Year. You can do get all that energy out there on Sylvester and party. Party like there's no tomorrow, guys. And let the light just choose its form. Don't try to containerize it. Or, well, be a container for it, but don't try to manipulate it too much. No? Your only job here is to receive the light when it comes. Do not dictate what it should be. Let it surprise you. So, the end. So, light your candles, be still, and have the most beautiful and wonderful December. And yeah. And above all, I thank you, Grace. And above absolutely all else, nurture yourself. You know, I think many of our mothers have said to us that we need to look after ourselves first. We don't always understand it. No. Oh, absolute beautiful. Unity, togetherness. Yeah. Yeah. Or make biscuits, make something. Mm. Yeah, the presents in South Africa, it's like buy and be buy die. And if you don't get a good Christmas present, it's like, it's diamonds and watches and expensive things. And that's why in the world, well, in the Western world, we say the world. It's terrible how we say the world, and I keep and I think it offends some people when I stop myself and I say the Western world, because we all used to say the world. We just assume that everybody's like this little us, Europe, white world, the worldwide wide world, the worldwide white world. Here we go. And there are going to be a lot of just like when we think that we know so much or that we've kind of vaguely got it, we've got to start all over again. It's quite fabulous. But with that knowledge, it's kind of wonderful. So, well, it's up to you if you want to crumble. Yeah. But yeah, not buying presents and homemade things. It's like a very big thing. Cooking, but because people do bake, they bake, 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 and things are so cheap to bake. Yeah. Like ground the ground nuts, the ground hazelnuts are like for like whatever, huge big bag. Yeah. And make memories, absolutely. Absolutely. And especially where you're on kind of borrowed time it's not like all any time that you can see them. You really want to just look with extra eyes. And when I went to Canada, I'd sold my camera, so I didn't have a camera when I was in Canada. And I said to my son, we have to look with extra, extra, extra special eyes so that we remember everything. And it's amazing because we did look with and it's like I can just close my eyes and I can see Canada. Like I can remember like almost everything of it. Yeah. So be within. Grace, I will send you a message now. Now, now. So love you all. Have the most beautiful, beautiful Monday. It's always so exciting when the month starts on a Monday. So yeah, memories we keep. The diamond just wants to be a bigger diamond next year. Yeah, what was it? I was saying that's why it's the most people. It's the most depressing day of the year. It's like the 23rd or something of January, and people realize how much they've spent and how little they have of their salary. Yeah. The wake-up call. And the snow is set in, and there's no more Weihnachtsmarket. Snowmen are boring. There's nothing nice about January snow. Okay, my lovelies, I'm going to go and love and leave you. And thank you so much. And yeah, go and be still. Today for me was a very still day. No, definitely quite a lot of deep stuff that needed to get worked on. And that's okay because it's the time. And by God's grace, this will all pass over when it's soon. So love, 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 love.